Hey there, this is Melanie Hunter with Holistic Health. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am sitting in our guest bedroom right now. My husband's across the hall doing calls, so you're likely to hear him. My kids are outside, so you may also hear or see them in the window, I don't know. But anyway, this is life around here, and I really just wanted to come on and share information. I was with a friend this past weekend, and she was sharing a little bit about how she's struggling to get pregnant and has been trying to get pregnant for over a year. And I know this is really a tough subject, and I just really want to share some information. Hopefully we'll get into somebody's hands and that can help with this issue. So thank you so much for your time. And if you know someone who's struggling with fertility, please do share this. So it's really hard to talk about fertility without talking about overall health. So we're going to start there. Really it's about the pillars of health, if you will. So you want to look at your sleep and make sure you're getting good quality sleep and enough sleep, that your room is conducive to sleeping. You want to look at your exercise, make sure you are exercising. It's really good for blood sugar balance, really good for your cells on a cellular level. Exercise is amazing. And you want to balance your exercise just like you want to balance everything else in your life. So if you are hitting it hard every single day, that can be taxing to your adrenals. And the endocrine system, which is our hormonal system, is a beautiful system, does so much, it's amazing. But it also is delicate. So if one of your hormones is off, essentially your hormones are off. So you don't want to overtax yourself, which leads us into the next pillar of health, which is stress. And stress is a really kind of interesting one when you're talking about fertility, because getting pregnant, or really not getting pregnant, is so stressful in itself. And I know I had a couple of months where I was hoping to get pregnant, and I was doing ovulation sticks and, trying to time intercourse, and oh my goodness, it's depressing every time you pee on that stick, and it's negative and it's emotional and it's such a roller coaster. So I understand that, that this is a really challenging thing, but it's also something that's really worth spending some time to investigate. What are the stressors in your life? How can you manage them? What tools do you have? I have a whole video on tools that I use to manage stress. I have 3 young boys. It gets to be a little bit stressful in itself. And so I need to use a variety of different things to manage my stress. And then from there, the act of getting pregnant can be stressful. So you have to evaluate that for yourself too. I have friends that have gotten pregnant using ovulation sticks and timing intercourse, and that's worked for them. And for me, that in itself was stressful. So I found that I got pregnant when I threw away the ovulation sticks, and I stopped worrying about it because it was just too much pressure for me. So you have to find out what works for you. Obviously, we can't talk about health without talking about diet. So you want to focus on having an anti-inflammatory diet. And I think that term gets kind of bounced around a lot, but what does that mean? That means eliminating inflammatory foods and drinks, first of all. And those are sugar, gluten, dairy, alcohol. And they can be even healthy foods, if you will. So this is where it gets individual, and this is where it's often really good to do elimination diet to see what foods you may be sensitive to. Some people are sensitive to nightshade vegetables. Some people are sensitive to lectins or oxalates. Some people are sensitive to eggs or soy, certainly corn, shellfish, nuts. I mean, the list goes on, and that can be overwhelming and daunting in itself. So I'll do a video on how to do an elimination test, and I think that that's helpful for everybody, but it's also really good when you're trying to get pregnant to pay attention. What are you eating? How do you feel? So on and so forth. And then, that's the part about taking out. What do you eat? An anti-inflammatory diet is full of anti-inflammatory foods, of course, full of antioxidants. And those are your vegetables, especially your fruits, your nuts, your seeds. You want to eat the rainbow. You want to eat really clean, good quality foods, so organic. Your protein sources need to be really clean. So it's really important. I see my kids peeking in right now. They think they're being slick. Anyway, quality is super important. And you want to have what I would recommend is a building diet. And I think women get scared of that term because they think that it means you're going to put on weight or put on muscle. And that's actually not what a building diet is. But a building diet is really meant to build your nutrient stores. And obviously that's really important when you're trying to make and build a baby. So I would focus on eating good quality fats. You want about 50% of your diet to come from anti-inflammatory good fats. And those are olive oil, avocado oil, butter, ghee, coconut oil, maybe in smaller amounts. Then 30% of your carbohydrates, roughly. I'm not a huge fan of making this so stringent and strict that it creates stress. You don't want to do that. But roughly 30% of your calories come from carbohydrates. And those, again, are your fruits and vegetables. Also grains, if you're not sensitive to grains, those can be inflammatory or anti-inflammatory. So those are a little bit tricky. You want to have gluten-free grains if you're eating them. Good quality as well. And then that leaves 20% protein. And these can be protein of your choice if you are eating meat, which we do, and I think, can be beneficial. You want to eat roughly 4 ounces of animal protein at a meal. And that is basically the size, you can't even see my palm, the size of my palm. This is roughly 4 ounces, not the size of my hands. That's more like what my dad would eat, and that's not recommended. So that's a building diet, really good quality food, which we know, and in eliminating things that are processed inflammatory. Gluten alone, as I've read many reports, people remove gluten and then they're able to get pregnant. So I think that can be a big one, but that just doesn't necessarily work for everyone. But I think it's something that's good to know and good to experiment with. If you do take gluten out of your diet, it needs to come out completely and for at least 3 weeks to see any benefit. Gluten will stick around a little bit, and it's also sneaky. It's in so many foods, so you really need to read labels. So moving on, other things, foundation of health, you need to address underlying health concerns. You need to look at your gut health and possibly improve your gut health. That can be done a variety of ways. That's a whole nother video in itself. Probiotics are a start, but that's certainly not it. Detox, something I like to call daily detox, which is eating cruciferous vegetables and drinking lots of clean water and doing an infrared sauna if you can, dry brushing. There's supplements to help with this. Milk thistle, herbal teas can be helpful. So many different things, but mitochondria are the energy powerhouses of our cells. And in a woman's body, we carry more mitochondria in our ovaries or eggs than anywhere else in our body. So it's really important to our fertility to make sure that we are taking care of our mitochondria. And part of that is taking care of or eliminating and or detoxing toxins. So you also want to look at your environment. What are you using for cleaning products? What are you using for beauty products? What are you, using gardening? Any of these chemicals can have a negative effect on your mitochondria and therefore on your reproductive system. So you want to look at that as well. Things that are healthy for your mitochondria would include good fats, which I already told you, the healthy oils. It's also avocados or nuts or seeds, fatty fish. Taking a fish oil supplement can also be helpful. I like krill oil because it's small and so it has less contaminants. CoQ10 is also helpful for your mitochondria, so that can be one that can help with fertility issues. And then other supplements that help with fertility, I think probably the most widely studied herb would be called chasteberry. And it's really kind of a mild herb without any side effects, I would say. It helps to increase progesterone naturally. And I've taken it, I don't take it currently, but I've taken it in the past and tolerated it very well. And I think that can be an easy thing to add in. Acetyl L-carnitine also has been shown to be beneficial. It's also good for brain health as a bonus. Vitamin D3 is beneficial for just about everything. So I think that can be a good foundational supplement. Taking prenatals while you're trying to get pregnant, I think is also a really good idea. I shouldn't say it that way. I took a different prenatal for my first and second pregnancies, but for Ashton, our youngest son, I took one from Metagenics, and it is expensive, but it has a really nice package. It has a magnesium in it, it has fish oil as well. I don't remember if it had probiotic, but it has a really nice, just really good ingredients. I really like their formula. Let's see. So other things other than that, I talked about stress. I think that's really important. I talked about detox. I think that's really important. Cleaning up your environment. Probably the only thing that I didn't mention that I think is also really important is that acupuncture can be a really good tool, as well as chiropractic. I think that they're both amazing. I use them both now, and I did use acupuncture to try to get pregnant, or to get pregnant with my second son. And I think that that's helpful for moving energy in our body. You know, oftentimes we have things that are stuck, maybe they're traumas, maybe they're emotions, whatnot, and it moves energy throughout our body. Also, they can use Chinese herbs, which can be really beneficial as well. And chiropractic, you know, our body needs to be structurally able to carry a baby as well. So I have used the chiropractor since I was pregnant with my first son, and that's a story in itself, but I think chiropractic is a really amazing tool to use as well. So I think I went way over time. It's supposed to be 5 minutes, and I think we doubled that, so I apologize. Thank you so much for your time though, and I hope that this information is useful and beneficial, and I really hope that it helps you along your path. I think, you know, my heart goes out to you. I know that that's really an emotional battle, and yeah, I pray for you, and I wish you much love, health, and happiness. Thank you so much again for your time. Take care.